those days it was about a 10% fatality rate for high expeditions. Every mountain range in the world has its own challenges, and the Himalayas certainly are very, very different from the Rockies. It's not only the altitude, but the weather and the conditions on the mountains. And when you're up around 20,000 feet, you're taking 3 or 4 breaths per step. And of course, fatigue and the mental strain is just phenomenal. And of course, avalanches that come down 8 or 10,000 vertical feet, are just unheard of in this part of the world. Everything was going well until August 29th, when in the early morning hours we had a phenomenal avalanche that came down on us, and I was just on the one edge of it, and I and the 3 Sherpas I was with got really trashed in the avalanche, and the 3 Sherpas got killed and only one of their bodies was recovered. And fortunately, 2 of the members that were about 100 yards behind me were only partially buried. And they saw my foot sticking out of the avalanche and managed to dig me out after 20-minute burial. So that size 4 avalanche just took the stuffing out of the expedition. And the one body they found in the recovery operations was taken down the mountain to base camp and taken down to Dukla the next day, and that Sherpa was cremated. And the day the Sherpa was cremated, Blair Griffiths from Vancouver, who was up with Rusty Bailey and Dave Reed and another Sherpa trying to fix the ladders in the area where the avalanche occurred, Blair got killed. And this was really disheartening, and the group coming back from the cremation was very disturbed by the way things were going, and there was some question about leadership. And while the day that they were coming back to camp, 4 of our members had gone up to retrieve Blair's body, which had been left after the accident. So the cremation party, when they got back to camp, Blair's body was back into camp, and Blair was cremated. And there's not very many climbing expeditions that have to cremate their own members, and it was just a devastating experience to all of us. I tried to call Kathmandu and say, hey, here's what's going on, but we have to go through the Ministry of Tourism. So I kept calling them for 3/4 of an hour, and all the time the CBC at the Everest Sheraton Hotel said, can we help, can we help? And I said, well, wake up the guys at the Ministry of Tourism, because we couldn't leak things out. There's quite a strong protocol. And finally, at 1:15, I said to the liaison officer who was sitting in the tent, I said, these guys are taking too long a lunch. I'm going to break the protocol and call the Sheraton Hotel. So I called the Sheraton Hotel and I just blurted out, we made it, we made it. And pretty emotional. Steve Bezruchka and I were the only Canadians in camp. The rest were up on the ice fall. That was pretty strong. We had lost 4 people. We had sort of stretched our luck to try it a second time, sort of thing, and it was really quite a time. Pretty emotional when we got back to Canada on October the 21st to get back with our families again, and we didn't realize how much publicity is generated in Canada. The press was just going wild about all the incidents during the expedition and our eventual success, because we were the first nation to climb Everest on our first attempt. The British, as most people know, tried it multiple times before they finally did it the first time, so it was really a feather in the cap.